Hi guys, this is Radhika here again. So this video is going to be on ego, and I got this question on what I mean by ego, and I think I have used the term ego in different contexts in different videos. So basically, sometimes I have used it positively, which means like who you are, your personality or your identity. And sometimes might have used it in a negative context, um, which is kind of like clinging to your ego or holding on to your ego, um, which is kind of like what I wanted to say is an overinflated ego. Um, so yeah, I have used it in different contexts, and I think a lot of people do that, and a lot of people think ego is completely negative. But I think under ego or over ego are negative or can be negative, and a balanced ego is not negative, it's positive. It sends you in the right direction in life. That's what I think. So yeah, because so the meaning of ego is self, especially contrasted with others or the world. So the especially contrasted part is kind of important because that creates the separation, that this is me and that is you. That's what creates the separation. So ego can also be called as an identity or personality, and we all need an ego to survive in this world or to function in this world. So, when asked the question, who are you? If I was asked that question, the simplest answers that come to me is I'm a woman, I'm an Indian, I'm a human being, I'm a mom, I'm a computer engineer, I'm a vegan, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, etc. etc. So, basically, these are the simplest answers because this is who I have been told I am, this who I know I am all these things. Then there is also an association with thoughts. So in the 17th century, there was a mathematician and philosopher called as Rene Descartes, who basically said, who famously said, I think, therefore I am. So he was saying that because I think, I am. So if you don't think, you are not. Okay, so this is, a lot of people will agree with this because in many ways we are our thoughts, we are our ideals, our passions, our interests. All these things together form our personality. They make us who we are. If someone likes to paint, they become a painter. If someone wants to, like see both sides of the argument and argue for one side, they become a lawyer. They understand all the rules, and then they will kind of fight from the side of one party. So if we did not have thoughts, if we did not have interests, if we did not have all these things, we all would be the same, exactly the same. It would be a clone, cloning after cloning after cloning, and that would be the world. Everyone would be like the same, exact same. So so that's why he said, I think, therefore I am. That's what forms my personality. That's what forms my identity. And a lot of people today will agree with that because that's what we tell in self love, in self help, in self discovery. You are finding out who you are, you're finding out your own passions, you're finding out your own energy, what you feel like. So I can see this clearly because my son, he's very young, he's only 18 months. So when he came into this world, he was just a human child, just like no name, nothing, no relations, nothing. He was just flesh and bones and the physical thing. And then slowly we gave him a name. We started calling him a name. He started recognizing his name. We started saying, okay, I'm mama, that's your papa. So he started recognizing these relationships. We gave him food, and after he started, eating a little bit, he developed choices. So he likes this, he doesn't like that. We had toys for him. He likes this toy, he doesn't like that toy. And slowly his personality started forming. And now, as he gets more control over his surroundings, he's going to form his personality more and more and more. And when they grow up, when they become teenagers, they start thinking critically, or even before that, and they start identifying, that I'm a vegetarian now, I'm a humanitarian, I am from this religion, I'm from that religion, so and so. So basically, sorry, there's a lot of noise in the background. So basically, they start identifying with different things, and those things form a part of their personality. So basically, as you can see, when he came into this world, or when a baby comes into the world, they do not have this sense of identity. They simply exist. They do not have the knowledge of where they end and where the world begins. But as we grow up, we start getting a sense of that this is me and this is them. So, ego or identity is basically the things that we pick up um, along the way on this journey of life. And many people will call this conditioning. It's the conditioning that happens. And it has happened to all of us. And that's who we identify with. This is me. I'm an Indian because I was born in India. So, this is necessary to survive in this world, because if I go for an interview, I have to say I'm a computer engineer, I studied in this university. So, I am identifying with all of those things. So yeah, basically, this is necessary to survive in the normal world, in a non-monastic world. Now, in the monastic order, when you go in, you have to give up your name, you have to take on a new name, you have to give up your relationships, etc. So that's a different thing. And then there are some people who develop an ego even over there, because they over identify with their religion, with their teachings. And so, in turn, what they do is they become against other religions or against other teachings, because they are over identifying with their teachings. So yeah, so when does ego start becoming bad? So it starts becoming bad when we develop an attachment to the things that make up our personality. So, for example, if I'm a vegan or a vegetarian, it's a part of who I am. But if I see someone who's eating meat in front of me, like a friend or an office colleague or someone like that, um, whoever basically, if I see them eating meat, the part of me that's a vegetarian, which is a part of my ego, part of my identity, it will feel ew, yuck, they're eating meat in front of me, and I will, I might get repulsed by it, and depending on how much I hold on to my ego, I can either criticize them that, oh, you should not eat meat. I can, give them like a teaching there that no, you should not, this, that. I can make a remark, I can make a comment, or if I'm not that vocal, if I decide no, let's not say anything, I can roll my eyes at the meat that they are eating, or I can gossip about it to someone else that it was so bad, they were eating meat in front of me, I could smell it, etc. So it's judgment, in any form or any way, or even that thought that comes to your mind that, oh, this person is eating meat in front of me, and you might not do any of the other things, but you did get that thought, that they are eating meat in front of me. All these things come from your ego. So a person who holds on to their ego will be like more responsive, more reactive. So they might say something bad, or they might think something bad about the person who's eating the meat. So ego does not like anything that is different from it. It only likes things which are similar, you know. And it goes both ways. If I see a vegetarian person and I feel, oh wow, they are vegetarian, it's basically I like them because they are like me. You know, it's not like I like them for who they are. I simply like them because they remind me of me. So it's a very narcissistic way, you know, of thinking. So, yeah, so basically, all types of hate, intolerance, judgment, criticism, irritation, even irritation, little things that irritate you, all of them come from the ego. It's a place of duality. So, why do you feel irritated? Because you want it to be this way, but it is this way. So, this is how I want it to be, but this is how it is. So, I'm irritated. You know, you want to watch TV, but your son or your daughter is screaming and you get irritated. You know, like, I just wanted to see TV, I just wanted to watch this one video. Why can't they keep quiet? It's irritation, you know. So all these things come from your ego. um, so yeah, it's a place of duality. It's me versus them, or my idea of what it should be versus what it is, you know. And it also goes in groups actually. So when egos come together, it becomes like us versus them. So it becomes whites versus, I'm just giving examples now, whites versus blacks, owners versus slaves, one country versus another country, my family versus my daughter-in-law. You know, not even my daughter-in-law, my family versus the daughter-in-law who's from another family, or the son-in-law who's from another family. You know, my religion versus another religion, men versus women, narcissists versus empaths. You know, all these are like, we are identifying with these things. So these become like a part of our ego. Um, Republicans versus Democrats, etc. So all of these things come from ego. Um, the ego energy is mostly concentrated in the Manipur chakra, which is the third chakra from down, called as the solar plexus. So if you want to understand the vrittis, or the propensities, or the characteristics of Manipur chakra in detail, please see my video on Manipur chakra, and I go into these things in more detail over there. So narcissists hold on to their egos very dearly, you know, their power, their money, their looks, their culture, their thoughts, their way of doing things, their family, the position they hold in the family, the position they hold in the office, etc., their ideas. So they identify with all these things so much, to such a great degree, that they feel they are these things, or these things are them. And if they don't have this, their sense of identity is lost. You know, they lose who they are. And that's why, for survival, they hold on dearly to all of these things. And so they try to control it, you know, and they're always in a state of agitation because of that, because they always feel like my identity might just dissolve if these things go away. Now, balanced people, on the other hand, they have all these things. They have position, they have power, religion, culture, family, thoughts, their way of doing things, beauty, etc., etc. But balanced people know that these things are a part of my personality. They are not who I am really. They are simply things that I have picked up along the way. And even before I picked up these things, I existed. I was a baby, and I was fine. I was happy. I was perfectly fine even before, you know, I identified with all these things. So if these things go away, maybe they will get a little bit jilted if they lose their job, or say you are a wife and maybe like a divorce happens or something like that. You will get a little jilted, but you will get back on track, you know. You will still survive, and you don't have the fear, so you don't control things as much. And spiritual people are the ones who have completely given up, power, personality, their thoughts, their religion, their feelings, etc. Everything. They feel like things are just coming to me and I'm picking them up. Everything is conditioning. So they are simply seeking, they are simply trying to figure out what is happening. So they don't identify with things so much. They are simply trying to solve the mystery of life. And this is, of course, like a generalization. You will find even spiritual people who might become egoists because they don't get the concept. Actually, they're just trying to get it and they just try to do something, but they don't really get the concept. So um, so yeah, so this does not mean that you stop talking to other people. If you want to have a balanced ego, it doesn't mean that you simply don't express your opinion or your thoughts. It just means that you express them and then you leave it be. You don't try to convince the other person that you also have to believe in this, you also have to buy into this. So, if you simply exist and you still talk, you still express yourself, but you don't try to, control others into getting bought into your thoughts, you leave it be, that's a very easy state of existence. Um, so it's something that we have to work towards because it's not that easy. But if you try towards it, we can find a very well balanced ego which lets us survive in this world and which also lets us thrive in this world and, you know, move forward on our path in a good way. So yeah, those were my thoughts on ego. A balanced ego will give you a good life. Underbalanced and overbalanced egos will both give you or give a person a certain set of problems. And maybe I'll make another video on that. So yeah, this was my video on ego. If you have any thoughts, comments, etc., please do write them below. I love reading them, and thank you again for all the comments that you write, all the good things and the bad things that you like. I'm trying, it helps me keep my ego balanced, even the bad comments, because I have to control reacting or responding to them. So it's all good. So yeah, I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thanks. Bye.